Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a spoiler-free review of The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gower. This has been one of the best books that I've read this year, so let's get into today's video. Before getting into the review, I have a small story of how I bought this book. Usually I follow book subscription boxes online in social media like Instagram and Facebook, and I just check for the books which they include in their boxes because it is easy to select from those books and buy them. I don't buy subscription boxes because they are so costly, I cannot afford them. So I just follow those pages, I see what books they are planning to include in their boxes, and I go and check them out. If the premise seems satisfying enough for me, I just go and grab them. In such a way, I bought this book like 1.5 years ago, and I don't know why I didn't pick this up earlier because this was such a delicious story. And I'll get into the review. It is so tough for me to speak about this book without giving any spoilers. Yet I've designed this video so that it'll be spoiler free. So don't worry. I'll just give you the review right now. First, let us say something about the plot of this book. Now, the plot of this book revolves around two people named Jonah Hancock and this lady named Angelica. Now, Jonah Hancock is a trader. That is, he sends his ship into the sea using sailors. He trades various goods like cargo and food items and other such materials, and he makes a living out of that. And Angelica is a woman who works in a pleasure center, a pleasure house, or a brothel, we can say. Now, one day what happens, this guy named John Hancock, he gets a mummified mermaid. It's not alive, it is dead and it is mummified. It is very small, yet it is a very rare thing to be sighted, and he gets it. And in order to get that, he has lost a lot of his money as well as his ship. It is not an intentional purchase, but it has been bought by him by some means, and he makes the money which he has lost in buying this mermaid by using that and displaying it in freak shows and other places. He's not that much intent in doing that, yet he has to do it in order to get the money back which he has lost on selling all his goods and ship. At the same time, there are many things which happen in the life of Angelica as well. She's not a good character. She's a very flawed character. She's a very normal character, and there's nothing that great about the plot of the book. The mermaid who has been sitting in the title of the book itself is not the main focus of the book. It's only the human beings, that is the people who surround the mermaid and what all they do in their life, that makes this book a beautiful thing. Now we'll see something about the characters in the book. As I said before, we have two main characters. The first one is Jonah Hancock, who's a trader and he earns his money by trading goods and stuff. And he's a very gentle person by heart. And if you are a person who wants at least one positive character in a book in order to read it, then the person who is closest to being positive in this whole story is Jonah Hancock alone. He's also not totally positive. He's also not totally a good person. All of the characters in the story are totally morally grey, and they are people who actually reside in the society in which we live in even nowadays. The story is set up in the 18th century, yet these characters are so real. These are people which most people might have seen at least once in our lives in some form, and that's the good thing about the character description and development in this book. And the second main character, who's Angelica, she's you have to read in order to understand the title of the book. She is just as I said, she works as a prostitute in a brothel, and her character is one which is so ambitious, and she is so proud of herself. She's the person who's paid the most in the place in which she works, and people pay more for her in order to spend time with her. That's the main strong thing about Angelica, and she uses that as her pillar of strength. Both these characters, they don't undergo any sort of great development towards the end of the book, yet the character development and the plot are not the main things about this book. It's the writing, which I'll come to in a few more minutes. So that was all about the characters of the book. Let's see something about the setting of the book. Now, this book, or the story in this book, happens during the last chunk of the 18th century. It happens over a course of 3 years, and it is between 1785 and 1790, which is the last chunk, just as I said before. And the best thing about this is that the amount of research that the author has put in while writing the atmosphere in which the story takes place. She specifically describes the story to be happening in Georgian London, and it was very well portrayed by her. If you ask me, the writing is one of the main elements which needs to be strong in order to move a story like this, and it was very excellent, and it made me visualize everything in a proper way. It was more like watching a movie rather than reading a book, with a lot of effort put in the setup in which the thing takes place actually. And apart from that, this also reads like a classic. If you're a person who's trying to get into classics but you like historic fiction or reading huge novels like this one, then I'd say this is the perfect start for you, because it reads like a classic but it is not a classic. It is a historic fiction, yet this was mind-blowing if you ask me in terms of the setting. The next thing that I'm going to say is about the writing of the author, Imogen Hermes Gower. I'm sure that she has spent a lot of time writing this book, and this must be like more than a 10th draft of the book if you ask me. It's not so easily possible to write this good a book in the first or second draft itself, because it is so good in language. It is so powered. The things that she does are so detailed, yet they are not jarring at all. They are relevant. She doesn't go on describing each and every gem in a person's necklace or each and every stone in a person's dress or anything like that. She provides a lot of detail, but it is very relevant in order to move the story forward. And also, she doesn't shy away while writing certain historic incidents or certain things which are tied into history. That is how people used to live in that times. She doesn't shy away from writing those as they were in this book. They are not cringy also. Sometimes people feel it inconvenient to read such scenes in books, but it was not in such a way at all in this one. This is very good, and if you're looking for something with a very good writing, then you have to read this. If you're a literature student, then I think you'll be able to appreciate this more than I do. So please try this out. Lastly, I'd like to say something about the pacing of the book. Usually I like fast-paced books, yet it doesn't mean that I don't like slow-paced books. If they are done well, I love them more than fast-paced books, and this was one such book. It is so slow. It is dead slow when it comes to pacing, yet the thing which moved me or made me pick up the book again and again was the writing of Imogen Hermes Gower and the language that she has used. Those were so excellent, and overall I rated this book 5 stars. If you're looking for a book with excellent language and a very good setup and world building, then you have to read The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gower. Okay, that's all for today, and if you did find this video enjoyable and interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.